Good morning, profitable traders, and welcome to today's market color session, being the 9th of February 2026. So good to have each and every one of you around. I'd like to crave your indulgence to kindly share the link to the market color session to everyone on your various social media platforms so this can get to as many people as possible. And for Monday, we carry out the market outlook for the week. It's usually very juicy and impactful. Right, without taking further time, I will be analyzing DXY, GBP USD, and Euro USD. Right after that, my colleagues will be coming up to analyze other currency pairs. Right. Do well to take note of the levels we'll be calling out and pay rapt attention to everything that will be said here so that you don't forget and the market doesn't leave you behind when these things are already playing out. So starting off with DXY on the weekly time frame, we've actually been looking at this price point, 107.490, where we want to see price trading to before continuing the downward move. And coming down to the daily time frame, last week, of course, we're looking out for more sales on the XY. But what we saw last week was a retracement for the continuation of the sell. And on the daily time frame, of course, price retraced into this fair value gap right here, right? And we're seeing some push to the downside into the week. Into the week, we want to see more sales on the XY coming down to 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, as seen right here, we've seen price retrace right back into this fair value gap also, and calling out the price point into 97.912. And on the 1-hour time frame, coming down to the 1-hour time frame, something to take note of. We've seen that the most recent price action seems to be bearish, breaking even lower. Coming out to the 15-minute time frame, where will I be comfortable taking the sell from? This has already played out. The box pattern strategy, shoulder at 97.657, sweep to the upside. This the break, and price has already retraced right back into this level to keep selling all the way to the downside. Right, so it's a sell on DXY into the rest of the week. On GBP USD, let's go to GBP USD and see what the market has for us. On the weekly time frame for the GBP USD, right, overall, we want to see price retracing into 1.24817. Right, overall, we are speculating that price should retrace right back into the left shoulder residing right here. And of course, taking note of what has happened recently on recent price action, we've seen that this previous high has been broken to the upside on the weekly time frame, suggesting that we will be riding GBP USD all the way to the upside on other time frames. Coming down to the daily time frame also, this has happened. We've seen price breaking above, expanded to the upside, and price has retraced. Right, so fibbing this most recent swing from point A to point B, what are we seeing? Price retraced into 61.8% fib level, held off that point, and we may see some push to the upside. Where is price going into? Price will most likely clear this high right here. Moving forward, the high at 1.38666 on the daily time frame. And after establishing the fact that we want to keep buying GBP USD, I will be more confident. I'll be more confident to buy right on the 4-hour time frame. Once price breaks the high at 1.37190 on the 4-hour time frame, of course, I'm still looking out for buy opportunities. On GBP USD, I beg your pardon for that breaking transmission. Right. So after doing that, after establishing that we actually want to buy GBP USD, where do we want to buy from on the 15-minute time frame? There's the left shoulder right here at 1.35241, right? Sweep to the downside, break to the upside. Once price retraces into 1.35241 on 15 minutes, I want to long GBP USD. Right, a sell buyers on the XY and buy buyers on GBP USD. What we saw last week, the sell that we saw was just a retracement, because after price expands, and just trying to reiterate, we most likely see a retracement for the continuation of the overall trend. And on Euro USD, I beg your pardon, on the weekly time frame, right, overall, we still want to see price. We're still speculating that price should retrace into 1.06629. Why, you may ask if you're new here? Because there's the left shoulder residing at 1.06629. Shoulder sweep, break, return right back into this left shoulder, and long term I will be riding the buy on Euro USD. But speaking about what is happening now, this high looks like a break. There's been a break of this previous high. It's not so obvious, but that's what it looks like. Coming down to the daily time frame, also the previous high has been broken. Price expanded all the way to the upside, retraced, and if I will be fibbing my most recent swing from point A to point B, of course, price retraced right back into 61.8% fib level, right? I can even see a base right here, right? There's a base right here holding at 61.8% fib level. How I know a fib level will hold is when a base has been formed at that particular level. So 61.8% fib level on daily time frame is holding. On the 4-hour time frame, what are we seeing? This previous high has been taken out. There's been a break of this high at 1.8355, and of course, after a break, we're looking for a retest before continuing the buy on Euro USD. Establishing the fact that we want to buy Euro USD, we'll just be looking out for entries on the much lower time frames. Coming down to the 15-minute time frame, I have seen one right here that will most likely play out. Shoulder at 1.18148, sweep to the downside, break to the upside. Once price retraces and trades back into 1.18148, I want to buy Euro USD. So I'm looking out for a buy on Euro USD and GBP USD, a sell on the dollar. And take note, CPI comes out by Friday, right? Apply proper risk management when you see your trade set up, and make sure that you don't lose money to the market. With that being said, I've come to the end of my market color session. Don't go anywhere. We are not done. We still have a lot of juicy things coming your way. With that being said, cheers and God bless. Let's have CJ right after this brief break.
Good morning and welcome to the Market Color once again. It's good to have you all here. My name is CJ and I'll be taking you through the remaining part of the second session of the Market Color. We're going to be looking at gold and the yen basket alongside one or two other yen pairs during this period. Starting off with gold, then yen basket, GBP JPY, and Euro JPY. So let's dive straight into it. Now, looking at gold against the dollar, we're seeing that gold might be having a much more deeper retracement. Last week, we saw how gold was closing with a doji candle. You can see that that shows sign of indecision on gold. At this point, it still doesn't feel clear what gold plans to do this week. However, we're expecting a move to the upside, a more deeper retracement to somewhere around 5,000 before we look out for another round of sell. So we're looking at somewhere like 5,250 to be a quarter point that would attract gold to the upside. So we're looking forward to seeing gold trade all the way to somewhere around here. So this is where I think gold might be heading to if it's going to give us a much more deeper retracement. Right around that region on the 4-hour time frame, you see that there's a fair value gap right there and another block, which might interest gold to trade into. So we might be looking to see gold trade into this region. All right, so in that light, I'm expecting a buy on gold all the way to 4,250. That is what I'm expecting to play out moving into the remaining part of this week. Now, for the intraday trading, if you look at it on the 1-hour time frame, you see that it has started gaining momentum to the upside. However, it looks like as though it wants to create some form of retracement before the buy continuation. Now, if you flip this whole region so that we measure out what the expansion has been so far, you see that there's not been any decent retracement so far. So we might be looking at seeing gold retrace to this region here before it continues buying. So this is one point of interest I have for gold before the buy continuation happens. So in that light, we might see a sell-off on gold before the buy. So the path that I'm expecting gold to travel is this, and then buy all the way to 5,215. So this is one of the moves I'm expecting to play out on gold. So for this today, I'm expecting a quick sell-off on gold all the way here, and then a buy back to the upside. Now, something else you should also note is that looking at the volatility of gold and the momentum gold used to push to the upside, we may not see price retrace all the way to this level before the buy. Hence, we'll be looking out for reversal price action around here. If I see any reversal candlestick around this region here, I'll be taking a buy on gold. But if it keeps pouring to the downside, we would start looking out for buys from somewhere around here instead. Okay, so these are the two places I'm looking to buy gold from. One is from where price currently is. Second is from 4,900 to 4,850. So for me this morning, gold is a buy. At this point, it's looking like a reversal might happen, but I would want to see a confirmation first in form of a very strong bullish candle that negates all this bearish run it has had in the last 45 minutes. Once I see that play out, I'll be taking my buy on gold. So for gold, I'm very bullish this morning and I'm looking to take further and further buys to the upside. Now let's look at GBP, JPY. But before that, let's look at the yen basket. Now, the yen basket has been making some resurrection moves lately. It has been making some push since it's coming to the downside to make one push to the upside. But overall, it has not broken this region. If you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, we drew out this low here. We said if and when price breaks here, would confirm the resumption of the sell, the full sell. We know that the yen basket is fully selling continuously. Although there have been some hints, but it has only been verbal. There have been some verbal hints on yen intervention. What that means is that the government might do some things that are going to strengthen the yen as a currency. Things like buying back the federal government bonds to boost confidence of investors. Things like increasing more money flow to also boost confidence of investors, and then also to increase interest rates. All right, so these are the things that the government might do to boost confidence of investors and then to also increase the value of the yen, thereby making it bullish a little more. So being that, we may be looking out for some bullish run on the yen basket. So starting out today on the 4-hour time frame, you can see how the day began with that news being released. We saw that the yen basket started making this move to the upside. We're expecting more and more of these moves to the upside. One of the levels I would want to see the yen basket take out is this high right here. The moment price takes out this high right here, we know that the yen basket is now fully bullish. So I'll be looking forward to seeing what price will do around this region, okay? So I'm looking forward to a buy on the yen basket overall today. And then the target is this high right here. Now let's look at how that implies on GBP, JPY, and Euro JPY. Now looking at Euro JPY, GBP JPY rather, we'll see that GBP JPY has really struggled to break this high after trading above it. So we're looking to see what will play out when price comes here again, and we didn't see price get all the way there. So right now we're seeing reversion to the downside. So GBP JPY is looking like it's going to follow suit with what the yen basket is telling us. So we're looking forward to seeing a bearish GBP JPY. Okay, so for me, I'm very, very bearish on GBP JPY, and today I'm looking forward to seeing a good trade that we'll be getting as a result of this bias. Now, for GBP JPY today, we've seen that price has already broken structure to the downside over and over again and giving decent retracements. This morning, I'm looking to sell GBP JPY rather from this region right here. Okay, so this is my sell bias on GBP JPY, and this is where I'm looking to get an entry from. Okay, so this is where I'm looking to take a GBP JPY sell right here, and then I'm targeting all the way to the downside here. Okay, so this is what I'm looking out for on GBP JPY. I'm looking to enter right here at this order block and then exit right here at the bottom of this flow. So this is it. All right, so this is my bias on GBP JPY, and this is the trade I'm looking forward to taking this morning. A sell-off on GBP JPY from this region all the way to the downside. Now let's look at Euro JPY. Euro JPY has a similar bias to GBP JPY. We're seeing that price is also struggling to break above here, and we're seeing pushes to the downside. We're expecting that should result into a strong sell of Euro JPY further and further to the downside. For today, I'm bearish on Euro JPY just as I am on GBP JPY. Now let's look out for where are the possible places GBP JPY could sell from. The first place I had in mind was this place right here. Right, and price is currently struggling around that region. You can see the first touch here, and this being the second touch. So I'm expecting Euro JPY to continue selling from here to the downside. So at this point, I'll be waiting for an entry signature in the form of a bearish engulfing candle or a bearish variation candle, what we call the evening star pattern. Once I see any of those form on Euro JPY, I'll be taking my trade on GBP JPY and trading it to the downside. Okay, that being said, we're going to move over to the next part of today's market color. You sure do not want to miss out on what we have left for you. So stay around. In the next 10 seconds or 20 seconds, we would have Lakon analyzing synthetic indices for us. My name is CJ. Do have a lovely
Hello, good morning. Welcome back to the Market Color brought to you by the Value Flow Trading team. That was a very insightful analysis in the currency market. So this morning for the week, we are going to be looking into the analysis of the synthetic, starting with step index, and we take a move to the 75, the step S, and probably the 30. Just a very quick one. A recap of what we have so far so good last week for the step index 100. Now, if you look at step index 100 on the daily time frame, you're going to agree with me that we've been expecting price to trade into the QI here and a pullback into this shoulder level on daily time frame. So that is what price is currently aiming at to achieve now on the 24-hour time frame, which is the daily. Now, if you look at it from the 4-hour time frame, you're going to agree with me that price is still pushing further down. So the only thing we should look out for now is opportunity to join the sell to this PY, or if you don't, then wait till price enters into this PY, then you look out for opportunity to buy the market all the way to the upside. All right. Now let's quickly look at the 1-hour time frame to see what exactly is playing out so far so good there. Now on the 1-hour time frame, you are going to agree with me that everywhere seems to be in a range, right? And as a matter of fact, we've been expecting price to trade into this POI on the 1-hour level so that we all can now sell step index to the daily POI. But price couldn't get there before it started selling all the way to the downside. And as we look at price now, price is already heading to our buy zone. So I would advise just be patient enough to see when price gets to the buy zone, this daily POI, then you look for market structure shift and join the buy all the way to the upside again. However, let's still take note of this sell POI, because when price gets to this daily buy level, then when it's pull back all the way, when it begins to buy and price gets here, we are going to see some level of reaction here, and this may give us a signal of offloading some of our position, or if you want to get out of all generally, right? So that is on the 1 hour time frame. Let's now look at the microstructure to see what exactly can we do quickly this morning. Now for this morning, all we are seeing right now is that price has actually broken structure to the downside. As a matter of fact, I want to see this current candle forming close below this zone. When it closes below this level, then that is going to give us a very that's going to give us a very sweet entry to join the sell around this zone. Then we are going to consider this as a sweep of liquidity all the way to the upside. So we already have our shoulder there. Then what we'll be expecting is price retracing a little bit more into this zone, and we'll look forward to sell opportunity of step index 100 somewhere here. But that would only be valid if price then closes below this region we marked in the next 15 minutes. So if the next 15-minute candle closes below this region, then we will be waiting for price to retrace a little bit to this 15-minute order block, which also has a confluence of 15-minute shoulder level. Then we can easily begin to short this step index 100. So this is what it looks like on the whole top. And you and I are targeting at 1:2 or 1:3, right? So that is that for the step index. A quick one to be certified to see what exactly is going on the pair. All right, so on Friday, we already established the fact that we begin to see some level of retracement on the 75, but price broke this trend line to the downside, and also giving us an order block at the trend line level. Then that gives us an insight of what we should do when price retraces back to that level. So you remember on Friday, we have some level marked out that when price retrace into those levels, we want to take the opportunity to short the 75. So with that in mind, this was the first POI that we're looking at, and the second POI was at this shoulder level, which price data came into on Saturday, right? And when price did that, it delivered clearly to us, just as you and I can see on the chart. So what exactly is now the real move now? What do we want to do now for the 75? Now, looking at it from the 4-hour perspective, we've seen the fact that we are still very much in a downtrend. If you look at the whole stock, we are still very much in a downtrend. However, after we see this break of trend line and price retracing it, I would still advise what we will still do is extend our trend line and wait until price gets back to it again. Then we start, shorting it all the way to the downside, knowing fully well that we are still very much in a downtrend. Let's keep joining the sell until we see a clear market structure shift to the upside, which is not showing anywhere here. And that's when we can begin to follow through to the upside for the 75 index. Now, the lower time frame on the 15-minute, I know some will be like, is there no structure? Anything we can scalp out of it? There's nothing scalpable here. There's nothing we can scalp here everywhere. It's still telling us that we are in a sell market. As a matter of fact, what I'm seeing on this current price action somewhere here is the fact that if price for any reason gets to this place, you may want to give it a brief shot to the downside. When price gets to this place, that's going to be very, very clean trade and with a low risk, right? With your SL just somewhere above here and your entry at this point, and you continue to the downside all the way again. All right, so this may be the first shot. However, the overall trend still remains that when price gets retraced to this trend line that has been broken here, then we begin to follow through to the downside again. So that is for this 75. Now, Friday also, we made a trade call on this 10 index. And if you look at it, what is our bias from the daily time frame? You're going to agree with me that we saw some level of market structure shift somewhere here on the 24-hour, 4-hour time frame to the upside, and we were expecting price to retrace back so that we can follow through. Now, if you look at it from the 1-hour perspective, that is where we pick our trade from, which is this particular left shoulder here. And on Friday, price triggered it but couldn't deliver the 1:2, around 1:1.7. Then price began to pull back all the way again. Now, what is the new move for this particular pair? As we all can see, I'm of the opinion that we are most likely going to see price, if for any reason we see price give us a market structure shift. So that is what we should look out for now. Until price gives us a market structure shift, then we are not going anywhere. But if price gives a market structure shift with upside, then we look for buy opportunity all the way to this level we still mark on the 4-hour time frame, which is this order block at the top here. So I'm still waiting for price to retrace all the way here for us to join the sell back to the downside, because we've not seen a clear market structure shift to the upside anywhere yet. All right, so that is that for the synthetic indices. For those of us who trade synthetic indices, and we know that the market is always open 24/7. So make sure you keep your gaze on it and look out for opportunity, as they would all be showing up right till we meet again in the course of the week for the live trading session. Make sure you are very active on your chart. All right, so we'll be moving into the indices analysis now, so that we can also take opportunity on that one too. We'll be having Demola come up next briefly on this. Stay tuned. Cheers and God bless.
To the market color session. We're doing once again, very quickly, we'll be going to the analysis on commodities, looking at what the market is doing. It has been an interesting week so far in the market. Starting off with S&P 500, it's good. It's really been amazing. We had this area marked out last week after the sell-off and also rally that we saw. Price entered into this zone and then it was pushing up aggressively. We said once price breaks this zone, we'll be looking to buy. Initially, I think we had a sell, an opportunity to sell here, but the sell was short-term. It was shortly lived because we had strong momentum that violated every of the single area here. Also, by the time we draw premium and discount level, this looks as though it's in an equilibrium position. But whenever you're against price, there's really nothing you can do against the direction of the market. All right, so for this morning, what do we have here? I can see something very, very clear and obvious, which is price has broken this previous structure zone, right? We've seen price break this previous structure zone, so it makes sense for us to be looking out for buys in the market, right? Especially seeing that we are coming from a zone that's not been tested before. The overall high should be somewhere here. Let me use this. These are overall previous all-time high or the current all-time high. So on the 1-hour time frame, what are we seeing? We're seeing looking for areas that have not been mitigated before. The only area now in this zone that looks unmitigated is this in a way, right? This zone here. This zone. Time we look at the 2-hour time frame, do we see anything? No. On the 2-hour time frame, 3-hour time frame, do we see anything? No. You can see here this area has been mitigated. This other block, this bullish and a rally to the upside. This candle has tested the zone, and then that has given us like a form of confirmation. Let me go on for 5 minutes. On 45 minutes, also all the areas available in this zone has been mitigated, except for this that looks quite unmitigated, also with some form of inducement below it. So I'll be looking up to buying from this area today. If price gets there, right, for any reason price drops down into this zone, I'll be looking for buys, and then I'll continue the rally to the upside. Or I want to even get more data. Since this is just the beginning of the week, this Monday, I want to see more data. But I know the market is bullish now. Even structurally, we're beginning to change to bullishness. Overall has been bullish, minor structure change to bearishness throughout last week, and then it's beginning to correct now. Fundamental is strongly bullish, right? President Trump tweeted that he's looking forward to Dow Jones hitting 100,000 points by the end of his tenure. So that's massive. Dow Jones is currently 50, right? So we still have another 100% movement way to go. So it is wisdom for us to be scouting out for buys, especially when things like this begin to align. However, if we see any confirmed sell-off, we can follow it because we are not static, we're not rigid in this market. All right, so that's what we have this morning basically on S&P 500. You can see the structure from daily time frame. This is a very strong engulfing candle. For those that understand basic candlestick, you see these two candles, it's really strong. You see the way it engulfs it. So there's no reason why price shouldn't come back to test, dig into this, and then continue its movement. So, and that's a huge one for us on S&P 500. All right, on US 30, let me go on US 30 and let's see some really interesting things. On US 30, as you can see, we've broken our previous all-time high. Remember, probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, when I spoke about the next level US 30 is going on, and I mentioned quarter point theory that we are going to hit 50,000. 50,000 is the next place that makes sense psychologically for US 30 to find support, right? And that's what we are seeing now. It's currently resting on a 50,000 QP level, right? So the next QP level available from us in the short term will be 55,000, right? And 50,000 is huge. 55,000 is huge. Don't see it as a gap. It's not much. You can make a killing from that. On the daily time frame, like I said, we have an engulfing that is truly an engulfing candle. In fact, we would have made even more money on Friday if we're observing. For me, I just left the market because we are able to take this from the market, and also price didn't sweep this. I wish we had seen like one pip what's it called now, sweep of this liquidity in the first place, and we'll have taken this because price came back into a very good level. Let me see, is that on 4-hour time frame? Okay, yeah, it's on 4-hour time frame. Price came back again, gave us another opportunity on this other block. Look at the other block sitting perfectly. We have an inducement here, and this is probably 1:2, if I'm not mistaken. Another 1:4 or so, all right? The market did after giving us 1:11 here. So I've made serious scaling here, but it's fine. What do we have today? The market has already opened. We see some form of probably retracement. The next place that looks really interesting for me is price coming to this level, this entire level here. If I want to really streamline it, this breaker block, right? This breaker block here. And then if we can see something like this around this breaker block, that would be really interesting. Say price comes here, and then we see some kind of engineered liquidity, because we don't have any engineered liquidity here. Something like this is an engineered liquidity. Price comes back into this place, and then boom, take it out. Something like this. It will be a valid place to buy from. Seeing this happen in the market. But this is just the beginning of the week. Hopefully we should get more price movement and candlestick formation that can help us make more informed decision by the end of the week, right? So that's all on US 30. I'm looking out for buys, but I need to see some form of retracement, right? And below this breaker block is another block that's not been tested before, sitting pretty well around here. So we could see that retracement coming to. This would be my first point of interest. Second one would be this, right? Second one will be this point of interest here. All right. So that's pretty much what we have on US30. And whatever it is that will be traded on US30, I mean, which of the interest will be predicated on what fundamental is saying, right? If I see that Trump is really pushing positive narrative and many things are beginning to align the markets, then I want to take the closest POI because I don't want to miss out on the trade, right? It makes sense for you to use the closest POI, especially if price is beginning to come towards 2 o'clock, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, right? We have all of that happened already around the zone. Then it makes sense for price to rally around that period, right? All right. So on US 100, this is the last one. It's also known as tech stock, US tech, NASDAQ, anyone you know it to be. Also, we are seeing the rally on the daily time frame. You can see what we have. The engulfing was sharp. The engulfing was sharp to the upside, right? Engulfing was sharp to the upside. Structurally, this is like still in a range. One beautiful thing about these guys is that you can see the structure on US30 as it is clear. We are bullish on US30, no doubt, broken all its own initial resistance, right? And then look at S&P 500. It's yet to do its own. Look at NAS 100, still far away. I tell you guys, once the moment NAS would attempt to break its own all-time high, you will see that rally being very powerful, right? And then for this week, my focus will be diverted towards NAS and S&P 500 rather than US30. Remember last week, the focus was on US30, right? Why? Because we know that if this move is going to happen, the bullish rally to clear its previous all-time high, and then we should expect long candles. And what does that translate to? Translate into profit, right? Because we can capitalize on those moves and then make the most of them. All right. That being said, let's go on the 4-hour time frame. We see the engulfing candle on the daily time frame. And the 4-hour time frame, what do we have? What do we have? Price hasn't broken this. It's this high. Is it high now? Lower high, yeah, lower high. The first lower high has been broken is this, right? But then I still need more confirmation in terms of price breaking even further highs, and then that will give me even more confidence to look for buys in this market for NAS 100. All right, for NAS 100 on the 12 time frame. Let's say okay, it begins to make sense now in the 12 time frame, and then we see price broken this. On the 1-hour time frame, what do we have on the 1-hour time frame? We have it's very clear that price has broken the closest, lower high on US 100. However, we don't have a clear zone for a buy yet because all the zone here has been used in form of liquidity or in form of POI has been used. This other block has been used. This has been used. This has been used. The only area that looks as though we can use for entry also has been used in a way, but then not so much. Price didn't take all of it. I mean, this fair value gap we have here, right? This fair value gap we have in the zone, and then price eating 50% of this fair value gap gives us everything we need to know, right? Price can come into 50% of this fair value gap, and from there we'll continue rallying to the upside. So that's pretty much we have. That's pretty much all we have this morning, and it's just the start of the week. We would get more information as the day progresses. All right, thank you so much for joining. Ensure you stay for the last session on commodity that will be coming on very soon from my colleague. All right, I wish you a profitable trading. Cheers and God bless. We see you again on Wednesday. Ensure you stay for the last session. Cheers and God bless.
All right, everyone. Good morning and welcome once again to the amazing sessions we've had so far. So we're going to be wrapping up today's market color session with a look at commodity currencies. By that I mean AUD/USD, NZD/USD, and USD CAD, to see what these asset classes are presenting to us this week and where we see possible entries. So I'm starting off with a quick look at NZD/USD from the 4-hour time frame. And what I see here is clearly break of structures to the upside, right? So I still expect more buys on NZD/USD, especially also since there is no sunshine printed on the top side here, basically telling me that there is more room for the buys to push further. Now, where do I think there's going to be a little hindrance for this buy is where I've marked out the next possible resistance level between 0.61065. Let's get the specific price point. It's going to be right here at 0.60892 is where we most likely will face another resistance that will push NZD/USD down here. Now, when that resistance does happen, where do I think the pullback is going to basically temporarily sell into? My first point of interest now becomes 0.60211, 0.59881, and 0.58521. But bear in mind, this is on the higher time frame. When I see these pullbacks happen, I may be interested in looking for more buy opportunities. Now, does that mean I won't be doing anything to price trade into this H1 POIs? I'm not. So I'm going to go on M5 to mark out even more, close POIs where price could eventually go into, and I could just continue my trade from. So you can see the levels already marked out. These are support levels that could turn resistance or vice versa. Now, since my bias on this asset class is to buy, I think I'd want to see price see where this previous resistance acted before. I'd want to see it act as current support. If this level doesn't hold, we're going to see NZD/USD push into the next support level, which could hold here. And then we also have another one which is not marked out, but I'm going to do that now, which is basically the indicator, the trend indicator. So this is a level that could also attract price, and price could also continue to buy from here. These are now the POI. So overall, NZD/USD for me is a buy. I'm expecting temporal pullbacks so I can continue to ride this trend. Now on the M5, would I want to enter a buy right now? No, really, because my stop loss is going to be too wide. I'd have preferred if I entered somewhere around here so that this level can now be my protected low. However, price has done a lot of movement, so I would prefer a deeper retracement so that my stop loss is tighter here, especially since I'm seeing the H1 resistance level, which happens to be here. So if my stop loss is here and my TP is here, it's going to be a 1:1 kind of trade, except I decide to stack. So if I decide to stack on this opportunity, then it's going to be more favorable. But yeah, these are the POIs I'm looking out for on NZD/USD. Give me a retracement so I can continue to buy any. Moving on to USD CAD. USD CAD on the H4 time frame. What do I see? Structure is to the downside. We're using indicators. We're using market to chart market structure. This is to the downside. Sunshine has been printed. This sell is going to continue to go down further, except price happens to trade into this fair value gap, which I see here, and then hit this resistance that could now be current support and continue to buy from this particular level point. Moving to H1 now. On the H1 time frame, you see how price already even came to give us that retracement at 1.36661, and it's starting to continue to sell to the downside. But there's also a resistance point somewhere here. If USD CAD breaks through this level, we're going to be seeing more digging of USD CAD to the downside. However, if that level happens to hold, it's going to serve as support that could push USD CAD a bit more to the upside before the overall move continues. However, my bias for UC is sell. My bias is a sell. So looking at the POIs marked out on the M5 time frame, the same thing I spoke on NU. I'm basically saying that, okay, we're going to keep selling, continue. However, I'd want for you to come and give me an entry, retrace into this zone, give me confirmation that you're going to hold at this level, I continue to sell. If not, breakthrough, violate it, come into the next POI, let me know it's going to hold. If not, same thing basically for the next point of interest. So overall, my bias is a sell. I'd want to see one of these points of interest hold by more confirmation patterns, say on the lower extreme. And then finally, looking at AUD/USD as well, on the H4, everything is pointing upward, sunshine printed as well, pushing price even to the upside more. Basically saying people who took this temporal sell of AU are currently, they've taken their profit already, hence why the buy has resumed. This is the next level that could act as resistance. That is 0.70912. Yeah. Okay. So looking at this now, I go to the H1 time frame, and I'm expecting price to eventually retrace before the buy continues. And these are the POIs on the H1: 0.69945, 0.69544, and 0.67755 are the H1 POIs that price could eventually sell into temporarily and give us confirmations to continue the buy. And then on M5, we have, the support and resistance levels I already highlighted, looking at other asset classes. And I said, this is a resistance that could turn current support. Now, looking at this, you'd see that price already even did that on AUD/USD. Our most recent resistance level is already currently acting as support. However, looking at M1, is there a confirmation that AUD/USD would likely continue to buy from here? Yes, price has given us that confirmation on AUD/USD. It has broken above, it has retested. AUD/USD is now in play here. Now, the only thing that would make me pause a bit is where my stop loss is going to be. Ideally, I like to put my stop loss below the 3 days data so that is a protected level. This is very, very wide. So if I'm putting my stop loss here, my take profit has to be 1:2 at the barest minimum, and paying attention to this particular level here, price could hit resistance around this one. However, I could take partials at this particular level. When price trades into the zone, take partials and allow the trade to run risk-free. Looking at fundamentals, we happen to have, quite a few high impact news releases this week, but today is going to be a pretty slow day. Today is Monday, there is no high impact news at all, everything is yellow. Tomorrow, 10th of February, we have core retail sales on the dollar, retail sales month on month as well. And then Wednesday, we have another one on the dollar, unemployment claims. We have others on other asset classes, but my focus is on USD and commodity currencies, anything related to these asset classes, as that is what I'm basically looking at. So make sure you pay attention to that, and let's see how these high impact news releases happen to impact the market. Okay, with that being said, we're going to be starting our Forex Bootcamp training today. It starts by 10 a.m. If you're already enrolled for that class, congrats to you. You're going to learn how every single person on the team trades this financial market, how we all tell a story and make money from this market. And if you've not joined the training, that's fine. All you want to do is to WhatsApp 081 6099 5030, and we're going to get you on board for this training and make sure that you're able to make consistent cash flow from the Forex market. Again, 081 6099 5030. With that being said, I wish all of us a profitable trading week. Cheers and God bless. See you on Wednesday where we have the live trading session. Make sure you don't miss that. You do not want to miss that. Tell somebody to tell somebody. Invite somebody to the Market Color community. Okay, do have a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.